So my name is Isabela Rodriguez. I am 17 and right now I am working 2 jobs. I am trying to go to college in the fall term this year to take American Sign Language and political science as a minor. My childhood is actually a lot of the reason why I ended up in Oasis and in a lot of bad situations that I was in. Both my parents are deaf and they can't hear anything, so they really tried to enclose me and my sister in a very protected space. Once my parents separated, I got very distant from my sister and my mom. My sister was the one who spoke up about my father and was the reason why everything, ended and my parents separated and there was a restraining order. So I had resentment towards her. I definitely was trying to figure everything out, and because I couldn't, I distracted myself with things that, would keep me not thinking about those things that hurt me but didn't hurt as much as my situation did.
She was extremely respectful. She's always been extremely respectful. Super sweet kid. I've always loved her. But her behaviors were wild sometimes. She was running away, sneaking out. Mental health, she needed the mental health services desperately, but she was refusing therapy. She was refusing taking her medication. She was just, everything was just no. To her mom, no. It was a lot. She was a challenging case, I'm not gonna lie.
At 13, I was doing a lot of things that other 13-year-olds are not doing. And certain things that I did with my life, it was to cope with just feeling pain of being alone. There was a couple times where I overdosed and really was just going through that of self-harm and stuff like that. And it never helped. It was a very temporary resolution until I felt pain again. And that caused me, I was very suicidal for a very long time. I would have good things that was going on in my life. I had some good people around me, but it wasn't enough to make me want to stay. And it was something that, people say suicide is a very selfish thing. It is, but it's also when you have no hope that you can't think about anyone else. It is a very selfish thing. That's exactly what it is, because all you can think about is how much pain you're going through. And you can't think about anything else because it hurts so bad. And there's, people can be there to listen and to try and help, but sometimes in that moment, you feel like no one understands, and no one really does. Everyone takes pain and deals with it much differently, even if you've been through a similar situation. I took it out on school, I took it out on my mom, I took it out on my sister. I treated my sister horribly. I didn't even, treat her like a sister because I thought it was her fault. I was horrible. I feel so bad just thinking about it. I put my mother through so much, and there was just a point where she was forced to find help from someone else. So at first I think I was sort of open to it because I was I just don't want to be home. Me and my mom, we were both I need to leave, and I was very consistent about it, and she was I need to find something, and she found Oasis.
We have Oasis for youth ages 10 to 17, and they go there for up to 30 days, or even court-ordered youth go there, and we have that as a structured environment for them. It's extremely helpful for a lot of our kids.
So we went in, talked to them, and they were yeah, we'll take you, and so we had a little interview but I do remember I was nervous. It was, I didn't know what it was gonna be like. I didn't know how the rules and everything worked and stuff like that, so as soon as I found out, I was I don't know, no phones, no, outside contact, only school and coming back to the shelter, going outside, doing little stuff like that. But eventually I ended up staying, and I do remember like I was a bit nervous at the beginning, as I am always in new, places and stuff like that. But eventually, I met the staff. I loved the staff. I got really close with the staff while I was there. I ended up meeting my therapist, Nicole. And then I ended up having therapy with Jill. I love Jill. Jill was my favorite whenever I saw her every week. It was amazing. I felt like she was my friend and not my therapist, and
She considers me like a mentor. Well, she even will say that I'm like her friend because she can talk to me and I'm willing to talk to her about whatever she needs. Even though I'm an adult, she trusts me enough to talk.
That made me feel so much more comfortable with her too, just talking to her and telling her how I felt. And
when we got to that point, she would call me when she had problems, even when my case was closed with her.
If me and my mom had an argument, I'd be like, I'm so mad right now, just talking to her exactly how I felt, not trying to sugarcoat things or, stuff like that, or feeling like I shouldn't say this or that. And I think that's what helped a lot too, is talking to someone that you feel really does care. It was something that I really enjoyed at my time at Oasis. It was one of the things that was the bigger things that was the light in my life at the time was Jill. I didn't last very long. It was a huge argument over at home, and I still had I don't even recognize who I was. I laid my hands on my sister, and it wasn't just a little simple thing. It was like I could have, really hurt her. I got arrested, and I had to stay over at the booking site place or whatever. And then they transported me over to Oasis, and I was there for about another month, I think, a month and a half maybe, because while I was there, they were actually trying to find that placement that I went into, the 4-month placement I went to after my stay at Oasis. I realized that the world was just going on without me, and that was something too that woke me up, and everything that I had learned really kicked in. Everything that I learned at Oasis, everything that I learned from my therapists, and they had already helped before, but now really wanting to make that change, I was like, okay, I need to really take what they said into consideration and into my actions.
I think that the respect that we showed her and meeting her at her level, between Nicole and I think that meant a lot to her. And the fact that we didn't always focus on the bad, we always focused on the good too. And she wasn't used to that. The first time I saw her in person, actually, right before I nominated her for the award, was at a Publix.
And she comes up and, it's busy and I'm not really looking at people and I'm doing my work.
She didn't look the same. Her hair was different, and I only recognized her by her voice. And I'm like, Bella?
And I'm like, who is that? And I thought it was someone who recognized me that I did not want to be recognized by. So I looked up and I look at her and I'm like,
yes. And I'm like, Miss Jill.
Jill! And she's like, oh my gosh, hey, how are you doing?
And that's when I learned everything she's doing and all these things that she's done. And I was like, oh my God, this is a new, I couldn't even, with the trip to Tallahassee, the difference, how much she's grown, words can't express. That's all I have to say. I could get emotional about it. I cannot express how great she is doing, compared to where she was.
I'm so thankful that I'm here, and I'm thankful that, eventually I found God in my life, and that was something that really helped me to keep holding on and to keep moving. I don't even know how it really began. She loved us. She really did, and she still does. I know she does. So it's
it's been a great client to have. Like, I'm so glad that I got to work with her because she's taught me so much too. So
I wouldn't be here with like my emotional intelligence that I have today if I didn't go to Oasis Youth Shelter, or have a mentor, a therapist, or people to talk to that were also older and had more wisdom on their lives and stuff like that. So that's who I am, and that's where I am today.